Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel, Newcastle versus Chelsea Carabao Cup Last 16 preview. In this video, we're going to talk about the brilliance that is the fact that you can make 8, 9, 10, 11 changes to a Chelsea starting 11, play against a side like Newcastle away, and I can sit here in front of this microphone on this desk to the camera to you guys and say, I'm confident that we can win. That's got a lot to do with the depth in the squad. It's got a lot to do with the energy around the club right now. But particularly, and I want to delve into this today, it's because of our manager, Enzo Maresca. He's got me excited again. Game after game, week by week, I go into a Chelsea match and finally, for the first time in years, I can sit here on GBFC and be like, I think we might be the favourites. I think we're going to win this. I'm excited to see what we do. Before we do get into anything though, I uploaded the podcast late yesterday. It's a 50-minute episode talking about Chelsea beating Newcastle on Sunday. It's very rare that you get to play the same team 2 matches in a row. Make sure you check out the podcast, or if you don't have time to watch it on YouTube, I'd suggest watching it because there's a load of stats, there's a load of analysis where if you just listen, you don't get like the, oh shit, looking at these stats on the screen. It gives you a better detail as to what we're actually analysing and talking about. As well as that, Chelsea, hopefully tonight, we're going to see us in maybe the away kit. Could be the third kit. Probably the away one because the third kit's black. But if you want to get 10% off at the Megastore, GBFC 10 is the discount code. And this is the QR code to get yourselves there. As well as that, let's get some more admin out the way. Subscribe if you're new. Smack a like if you're excited for this game. Because I, for one, am very excited. I'm excited to see what Maresca does to the starting 11. We have got lots of questions right now that have really good answers. I think a lot of the times in recent years when you look at a Chelsea squad, you look at a manager, you look at the selections, you look at the availability even of certain players. Enzo Maresca confirmed yesterday that Chelsea have a full squad to pick from, which I don't remember the last time we're in a position where 2 games in a row, we've basically got everybody fit, everybody healthy. And at the moment, you've got players chomping at the bit to come on, to make an impact, to make a difference, to prove why they deserve a starting place at the weekend. And what we are seeing, especially the weekend just gone, as much as we talked a lot about Neto in the podcast, Neto came in against Newcastle because Newcastle are going to press you high, which allows Neto to use that pace to burst round the back. We saw a goal happen purely because of this decision. If it's Jadon Sancho, Sancho's not got the same running, sprinting, off-a-ground start ability that Neto's got. Chelsea don't get that goal that Nicholas Jackson scores. And it's brilliant to see, as much as we can all sit there every single match and we can overanalyze, we can also not have the same tactical knowledge and ability to be able to be aware of these things as the manager. We all think we can be the armchair fan and know better. But I think right now, what we're seeing is something where, game by game, you think you understand what the right thing would be, the manager chooses it, and then off the bench things happen, games change, Chelsea control it, and it's brilliant to see right now. Chelsea can not only go out there and score loads of goals and smash up an opposition, but we can also grind out, see out matches the way that we did at Stamford Bridge against Newcastle at the weekend. The reason I actually think that this game might actually suit Chelsea even more is because of not only the fluidity, when we see all of these changes, the players are coming in, playing with a confidence. There's a couple of players here in the starting 11 that we're about to build that I want to talk about the calmness that they've shown. I want to talk about the way that the mentality and the personality of these players on the field has shifted, because as much as Maresca's given us a lot of tactical stimulus, a lot of instructions that might be new to certain players, something that he's done incredibly well is galvanise the squad so that if players aren't playing at the weekend, they're not sitting there complaining amongst themselves in the dressing room. There isn't any visible feud that we can see right now where players are obviously frustrated and disappointed. But in terms of the way that roles have been set within this squad, positions are there. Joao Felix has come in and he's not getting many minutes, but when he's playing, he's scoring. Christopher Nkunku still has more goals than anyone in the Chelsea squad this season, yet doesn't start in the Premier League. Chelsea have been scoring goals for fun. In the Conference League, we got a ton against Barrow as well. And I think when you look at Newcastle this weekend, they've also got a big match coming up in the Premier League. They don't have the quality and depth that Chelsea do. So I think Newcastle will also make changes because they had a very long trip down to London. They fought a really hard-fought match in the Premier League, didn't come away with anything. And they've also got another big game this weekend in the Prem. So, when it comes to these Carabao Cup games, you got Southampton winning last night, Brentford winning last night. There's still a lot of good teams left in this competition. Liverpool go to Brighton, I think they'll win that. Arsenal go to Preston, I think they'll win that. Man City and Spurs play one another. One of those two teams, you probably want to avoid them if you're there in the quarterfinals. But this is where Chelsea need to be. When you've got a big squad of players, it is important that we get through these matches to give the players that don't get to play every week in the Premier League, if they know they got a Carabao Cup quarter-final coming up, it's one less week before they start to think, should I be knocking on the manager's door? Should I be starting to ask questions? Which is a healthy thing, but at the same time, right now, there's enough Conference League games. We've got the Carabao Cup games in there. There's enough matches to keep everybody happy. And what we're seeing is we're learning tactically as Maresca gets these players under his wing even more. We're seeing what the Thursday night players or the Wednesday night players can do that could supplement changes for the weekend. It's a brilliant balance that we've got right now in the squad. And without any further ado, I'm going to build a Chelsea 11 here that does see a lot of changes. I think there's still a few question marks to be had. But we begin with the goalkeeper. Philip Jorgensen comes in. I don't think he's had too great of a Chelsea season start for the matches that he's played, but he's also not been too bad. I said in the podcast yesterday that I'm done with Sanchez right now. I think I've personally seen enough to suggest that Jorgensen should get the minutes. But again, I understand why Maresca's not dropping him. I understand that it is about instruction. What he's being asked to do now compared to what he was being asked to do last season under Pochettino before Petrovic took his place. There is such an onus on that goalkeeper being a +1 in the build-up for Chelsea. And I guess Maresca just looks at Jorgensen in training, looks at him in the cup games that he's playing, and is like, well, as much as Sanchez isn't delivering it perfectly right now, he might not still be at that level. So, I'll keep backing the manager's decision. But again, another big game here for Jorgensen to show that he's absolutely ready, if needed, to step in. We move into the Chelsea back four. Malo Gusto, Tosin, Badiashile, and Marc Cucurella. Now with Cucurella, I think he's quite unlucky really to not have started that game in midweek. We saw him play the full 90 in Panathinaikos. Malo Gusto right now, I think it's definitely a fitness thing between him and Reece James. James played the 90. Let's not push it too far. I said in the Conference League game last week that Reece should have played. A lot of you thought I was crazy for that, so I've learnt my lesson. I think Gusto right now is fit, he's healthy, can play on the left, can play on the right. Cucurella's got to be in there. But I want to focus here on Benoit Badiashile. The last two times I've seen him play, I'm like, that's the Badiashile that we saw when we signed him. That is the Badiashile that earned him a song about Todd Boehly going to France in a Lamborghini, bringing us back a centre-back, Benoit Badiashile. That's the song. That's what he earned when he first came in at Chelsea. Then all of a sudden, it was almost like, click of the switch, the lights go off. What's happened to Badiashile? The last two matches, what we have seen, I want to compare it here to Mudryk, because what I've said about Mudryk so far this season is that Enzo Maresca's taken the pressure off of him. He knows he's not going to be a starter right now, so when he plays, it's just about, look, you know what you can do. Don't think too much. Don't try too hard. Just do these things, and you're a part of a moving system now, which is a system. You can see tactically, Chelsea is smart enough. We've been together for a while now, as much as we've added in the salt and pepper this season to make us a little bit spicier, a little bit tastier. Players know their roles, and that's exactly what Badiashile is being told to do. That's exactly what Mudryk's being told to do, and that is why we're seeing big improvements from these players. I'm really excited tonight about Badiashile. I hope he don't let us down. I hope he keeps showing what we've seen the last two times he's been out there on the field, particularly the way that he was just holding the ball last week against Panathinaikos, drawing players in, clipping those balls over the top. And when you look at what I've got going forward in this video, if Newcastle keep pressing us, they go with like that 4-4-2 when they're out of possession to try and win the ball back with Barnes and Isak being advanced, or Almiron. I don't know if they're going to have those same players out there tonight based on how hard they fought at Stamford Bridge. Will they be able to make enough changes to compete with Chelsea? We will have to wait and see. But then we move into the two in front of that defence, Enzo Fernandez and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. These two look pretty good together. I thought they were great against Panathinaikos together last week. I think, again, it's about getting minutes to players, showing what they can do. I think Dewsbury-Hall will be able to advance up the field a little bit more, which allows Enzo to kind of be that lone six potentially, where they can be close together if they need to, but Dewsbury-Hall can also drift a little bit. Enzo can also win the ball back well further up the field. So it's a big game here tonight against strong Premier League opposition again for Enzo Fernandez to show that he is still knocking on the door of Lavia and Caicedo. I wish him all the best. I hope he does well. We move then into the two wingers. I've gone with Mudryk and Pedro Neto. Neto has just been so good those last two games, and I know he's playing a lot of football, but I want to see Neto on the right. I think Neto on the right is where he's at his absolute best. And Mudryk, when you look at this right now, Mudryk and Neto, absolutely blistering pace here. If Chelsea can draw the Newcastle players towards the defenders, clip those balls over the top, Jorgensen, I want to see that over-the-top distribution. And I think Mudryk and Neto have just got all of the power, all of the pace necessary to absolutely inflict damage on this Newcastle side. As we move forward again to João Felix and Christopher Nkunku. I think tonight this is exactly the way the front four is going to be. Noni's obviously been playing a lot of football, and I think now the output from Noni's not been there. He stopped scoring. The assists aren't there. Or he scored against Forest, but he didn't score at the weekend. I think positionally he's been good. He's doing what he's being asked to do role-wise. Noni Madueke was told, stay out there on the right-hand side. We're going to hurt them more on the left today because Reece is going to stay back a bit. Gusto's going to come forward and they're going to have a lot to deal with on that right-hand side. But we're going to use Neto's blistering running pace to attack them when they've committed men forward. And I think we can see that happen here on both sides. I think with Mudryk and Neto there, it gives Newcastle too much to worry about. And then you've got those classy players who can interplay with those wingers or with each other. With Nkunku and Felix, good in close, tight spaces. I think this is a really exciting Chelsea lineup, personally. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments down below. Now, obviously, at the minute, if you saw my tweet last week, we obviously got the Panathinaikos scorers correctly. I tweeted saying that Cole Palmer and Jackson will score against Newcastle, and lo and behold, they did. Got the score prediction wrong, but the goal score is correct. So I'm going to put some pressure on myself here. I want to get this one spot on. I'm going to go Newcastle 1, Chelsea 3. I think we progress to the quarters. I think Nkunku scores. I think Mudryk scores. And I think Enzo Fernandez scores in this one today. I'm really excited for this match. I'm going to try and wake up to go live. It's a really stupid time for me, but I'm feeling a little bit better. I've still got like a bit of a cold, but I'm feeling much better and much more energized to be able to do live streams and stuff. So I'm going to try and go live tonight at 3, about 45 minutes before kickoff. So stay tuned to GBFC. 6 Things 100% will be out after the game, but if I'm awake to watch it, I might as well just bloody stream, shouldn't I? So that's the prediction. 3-1 Chelsea. Let me know yours in the comments down below, and I will see you on GBFC for the live stream later. Come on, you Blues.